On the night of October 9th, a structural engineer named Osei Redfarrow logged a set of adult footprints crossing 4 decades of undisturbed dust in Service Corridor D beneath Kestrel Field, a corridor whose access hatch had been welded shut from the far side since before he was born. Before that night, his work was unremarkable. Redfarrow spent his days measuring load tolerances in parking structures and school gymnasiums, driving a grey sedan that smelled of cold coffee and drafting pencils, eating the same gas station egg sandwich at 10 past noon. He had been contracted by the Kestrel Field Renovation Board to survey the lower substructure ahead of demolition, a routine assessment expected to take 9 business days. The first inconsistency was small enough to ignore. His moisture readings in the eastern tunnels came back at 62 degrees and 41% humidity, ordinary numbers for buried concrete. But the dust told a different story. In a corridor sealed since the stadium's expansion, someone had walked. The prints were fresh, pressed clean into grey silt, size 11, evenly spaced, moving with unhurried confidence toward a maintenance door marked D9. The door had no handle on his side. Its seam was fused with old welding beads, the metal discoloured where a torch had run along it long ago. The footprints ended there, toes to the steel, as though whoever made them had passed through it. Redfarrow pulled the original construction plans from the municipal archive under request number KF 1830. What he found did not match the building he was standing in. The 1961 blueprints depicted an entire ring of subterranean corridors, a service loop labelled the understructure that appeared on no drawing produced after the expansion. On modern maps, that section was simply blank concrete fill. According to the paperwork, it did not exist. According to the welded door, something had wanted it kept. He located 3 retired groundskeepers still living in the county. 2 agreed to speak. The first, a man named Tul Vanacek, had worked the field for 31 seasons and spoke carefully, the way people do when they have decided in advance not to sound insane. "Off-season, February, you'd be alone out there," Vanacek said. "And you'd hear it. A game. Not on a radio, I mean the whole thing. Crowd, the organ, some guy yelling about peanuts. Come up out of the ground like the floor was thin." He paused. "We didn't go down after dark. That wasn't a rule anybody wrote. It was just the arrangement." The second groundskeeper, a woman named Priya Anantharaman Kell, would only confirm that she once heard a public address announcer introduce a batter while she stood alone in the empty bowl at 4 a.m. She could not remember the name. She said she had spent years trying not to. The Renovation Board, cautious about liability, authorised an acoustic survey. A 2-person audio team led by an engineer named Corwin Bledo installed 11 contact microphones and 4 ambient recorders throughout the lower tunnels, running continuous capture for 6 nights. The equipment logged the expected sounds of a dead building. Then, at 1:19 on the 4th night, every recorder simultaneously picked up a distant public address voice. The transcript, cleaned across 3 passes, reads clearly. A stadium announcer, warm and unhurried, introduces the starting lineup. The names do not appear in any professional or minor league register. Batting third, a player called Elban Voss. At shortstop, someone named Hollis Marrow. The list runs to 9. Bledo cross-referenced each name against 70 years of league rosters and found nothing. Between introductions on the 4th recorder, a crowd can be heard settling into their seats. On the 5th night, the motion sensors ended the survey. Redfarrow had installed passive infrared units in each of the 19 tunnel sections as a safety measure. At 2:46, all 19 triggered at once. The board's security contractor pulled the corresponding camera footage. Every frame showed empty corridors, undisturbed dust, no movement of any kind. The sensors registered a full room of bodies. The cameras registered nothing. The 2 systems shared a timestamp and disagreed completely about what the world contained. Bledo left the project the following morning. In his final email to the board, he wrote only that the 4th recorder had captured, beneath the crowd noise, the sound of a single person clapping slowly, close to the microphone, and that he did not wish to discuss it further. Demolition prep continued because contracts required it. On the 11th of November, a crew breaking through the sealed fill behind Corridor D opened a room that appeared on no plan. It was a scoreboard storage chamber, roughly 40 feet deep, dry and cool. Inside were metal shelving units holding scorecards. The crew estimated the count near 11,000. Each was filled out by hand in the same steady script, documenting complete 9-inning games, box scores, attendance figures, weather notes. The teams did not exist. The players did not exist. The final scorecard, sitting alone on a reading table as though recently set down, was dated the 19th of October, 3 weeks before the room was breached. The 19th of October was 10 days after Red Pharaoh first saw the footprints. The renovation was paused, then quietly cancelled. The board cited structural concerns and asbestos remediation costs. Kestrel Field stands today behind chain link, its lower access permanently sealed under a new emergency ordinance that no council member will explain on record. Vanacek moved north to live with his daughter and stopped answering letters. Anantharaman Kell relocated out of state and declined all further contact through her attorney. Red Pharaoh completed his final report, submitted it under case file KF 1902, and left engineering entirely. He now repairs bicycles in a town he has asked us not to name. The scorecards remain in a climate-controlled evidence locker. A staff archivist inventorying them last month noted that the collection now contains 11,001.